Today on Northern Revolutions, I'm going to show you some records that I haven't shown you before that are part of the soundtrack of my life. So stay tuned. Hey, violent community. Welcome back to Northern Revolutions. My name's Rob. Welcome back if you're returning. Welcome if you're new. Today I thought I would do a video that kind of relates to my contest. I want to do a video where I'm going to show you some records I haven't shown you before. And these are records that are sort of part of the soundtrack of my life. For those of you that don't know, my first ever vinyl community contest is going on right now. It runs until the 14th of June. As a recap, what I would like folks to do, aside from subscribing to my channel, is to give a shout out to another channel, preferably with lesser subscribers than your own, but that's not an absolute must. And then I want people to show 3 records that take you back to a time or a place or an event or a person or whatever in your life, something that's got sentimental value. And I have to say, over the last week, there's been a lot of submissions, which has been wonderful. I'm still anxiously awaiting a few people that have said that they're going to do one, and I enjoy those people's videos, so I'm quite excited to see what they're going to submit. But what I've really enjoyed is hearing everyone's stories about why they love the records that they've chosen to show, and what the sentimental connection is, or what the memory attached to it is. I just really enjoyed hearing those stories. So to that end, I think I'm going to just show 5 more records just for the hell of it that have a personal connection for me, and they are records that I've not shown before. So here we go. Okay, so this first one I want to show, I know nothing about the band, I know nothing about the record, but it has a great story attached to it. This is a band called Showdown, and this is called Welcome to the Rodeo. So this came out in 1980. They're a band from Western Canada, I think Calgary, or maybe Edmonton. I see that their fan club is in Leduc, Alberta, which is just south of Edmonton. That's where the airport is. So here's the story with this record. So when I was in grade school, I'm talking grade 6, grade 7, my best friend Graham and we had another friend whose name was Ron. Ron was a little crazy. I think that's the best way to describe it. And Ron always used to sing this song that went, I'm not going to sing it, I'm just going to recite the lyrics. Well, it's 40 below, and I don't give a f***. Got a heater in my truck, and I'm off to the rodeo. Here comes Johnny with his dick in his hand. He's a one-balled man, and he's off to the rodeo. Ron sang this all the time. And Graham and I just thought it was some stupid shit that he made up. Fast forward to when I was probably 19 or 20. And I was working at the local hardware store, Canadian Tire for you Canadians. And I was outside at lunch one day at the hot dog cart, having a hot dog. My buddy Paul, who was 20 years older than I was, he was in his 40s. He comes out and he's waiting for a hot dog, and he starts singing, well, it's 40 below and I don't give a f***, got a heater in my truck and I'm off to the rodeo. And I stopped and I said, holy crap, Paul, what is that? Is that a real song? He goes, yeah, it's a song called The Rodeo Song by Showdown. For, 15 years, Graham and I thought that was just something that had been made up, and we thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So, of course, then I had to go track down Showdown. So it's on here, and as you can see, there's a little warning sticker there that says, the rodeo song, recommended for adult audiences only. Which is funny because there's a lot of profanity, but it's hilarious. Some of the other things that are on here, ironically, they cover The Devil Went Down to Georgia, which is a Charlie Daniels song. And they do a cover of Dueling Banjos. And while I am by no means expert on that type of music, I'm certainly not, both of those versions sound pretty darn good. So there you go. Showdown. Welcome to the rodeo. Okay, so the next one I want to show is also a Canadian band. I know I show a lot of Canadian bands. That's kind of my thing. But that's not why I'm showing this record. This is the Guess Who live at the Paramount. I love the Guess Who. They're a rock band from Winnipeg. I'm sure most people know them for the song American Woman. I don't know how big they were in the States. I mean, I know they had some chart hits down there. Great 70s rock band. Burton Cummings and Randy Bachman. Randy Bachman would go on to become Bachman Turner Overdrive. These guys are amazing. When I was so this is a live at the Paramount, which was recorded in '72. It was kind of their last album of the original core group. When I was getting into music in the early '90s, I loved the Guess Who. Along with the Beatles, it was one of the very first bands that I got into. And I remember, so this record for two reasons. I remember in the late 90s, there were rumors that the Guess Who was going to reunite. I didn't think it would happen. A lot of people didn't think it would happen because Randy Bachman and Burton Cummings had been on the outs for over 25 years. But they actually did mend their differences, and they reunited as the Guess Who, and they did a tour called the Running Back Across Canada tour in 2000. I went to that show, and it was awesome. It was most of the original lineup, not Kurt Winter because he'd passed away, and it was a phenomenal show. This is not a tremendously good live album, but I only have a couple Guess Who records, and I've shown the other one, which is American Woman. But anytime I hear the Guess Who, I think about that time when I played the Guess Who all the time. I had it in my Discman every day. Some of those great songs, New Mother Nature, American Woman, Laughing, Undone. There's a dozen more there. So I think of them because they're the first rock concert I ever went to in 2000 when I was 18. The other reason that I think about this record, or I think about the Guess Who when I listen to this record, is when I graduated university in 2001, Burton Cummings was being given an honorary doctorate in music from my university. So he was at my convocation. I have a degree in history. So, we were lumped in with the arts people. So the music people were getting their degrees at the same time. So he was sort of the keynote speaker and the honorary doctorate. When I walked on stage to get my degree, you were given your degree by the chancellor, and Burton was sitting next to the chancellor, who Burton looked bored out of his mind, and I thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to have the opportunity. So even though we weren't really supposed to, I went to Burton Cummings after I shook the chancellor's hand when he conferred my degree on me, and I stuck out my hand and I said, Mr. Cummings, I'm a huge fan and it's an honor to meet you. And he looked up kind of surprised. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And that was it. So and there is video of it somewhere on a VHS tape. I got to dig it out. So those are my two memories associated with the Guess Who. Regular viewers of my channel will know that I talk about my dad a lot. And I'm going to try and do this without being emotional. Um, my dad was the probably the most important person in my life. And he's the reason I'm a music fan. Um, he's the reason I'm a record collector. I have his stereo, or most of it. My record collection started from his record collection. Um, my dad my dad died quite unexpectedly and um, horrifically back in 2009. And I miss him immensely. There's two pictures of him that hang on my office wall. So he's always kind of hanging out in my music room and listening to records with me. Um, so this record is for him. So this is the Peter Green Fleetwood Mac self-titled album. I've never actually listened to this exact copy, and here's the reason. Back in, I think it was 1999, I went to Europe on spring break because my girlfriend's dad lived in Switzerland, and he flew us there for 10 days for spring break. And while we were there, my girlfriend and myself and her dad and her stepmom, we took a little 3-day excursion up to England, to London, and we went to Abbey Road. I crossed the crosswalk. But one of the things that I did there is there was a big Tower Records store at Piccadilly Circus. And I went in, and it was amazing. I bought one record, and it was this one. And I didn't buy it for me. I bought it for my dad because he didn't have it. And this is a reissue. This is a Simply Vinyl 180 gram reissue. I paid £16.99 for it. I don't have no idea what that is nowadays. But we didn't. We couldn't find this record anywhere at home. So when I saw a brand new reissue of it, Fleetwood Mac being my dad's favorite band, and specifically Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, I bought it, and this was the only souvenir I brought home from Europe for my dad. It's still in the Tower Records outer sleeve that it came in, and I gave it to him, and he was quite moved. So obviously when he passed away, this was the first thing that I took out of his records because it's important. Continuing on the subject of my dad, this is a record I've not shown before. This is Santana's Abraxas. Do I like this record? No. It's not that it's bad, it's just not really my taste. But I have it because this was Dad's copy. And I mentioned before, when I was getting into music and I was listening to, the Beatles and the Guess Who and Fleetwood Mac and the band, Dad was trying to get me to branch out. And one of the records he bought me on CD was this, hoping that I would get into it. I didn't. Santana's a great guitar player. It just has never really appealed to me. I do like Black Magic Woman, that's actually a Fleetwood Mac song that Santana covered. I like both versions. So again, I kept this when Dad passed away. Even though I don't listen to it, I kept it to remind myself of Dad's ongoing efforts to try and get me to broaden my musical horizons, which I'm still guilty of to this day. I need to be probably broader than I am. So anyway, Santana's Abraxas. And the last one I want to show today is Creedence Clearwater Revival. This is the concert. I don't think I've shown any CCR records since I've had a YouTube channel. I have them all. I listen to them all. I like them all, except the last one, Yeah. So when I hear this record, um, again, brings me back to that time when I was a teenager, and all my friends were listening to, you know, Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and I'm getting into stuff like CCR. I vividly remember, uh, this is the early, maybe mid 90s. CDs are all the rage, of course, and there was a CD warehouse that had opened up in the next city over from where we live. And Dad and I would go over there to CD shop. And the first time we were over there, I wanted to get a Creedence record, or Creedence CD, I should say. And Dad encouraged me to pick up this one. He said, you know, all the Creedence stuff is good, but you want to get this because it's live. And I think part of the reason I love live albums is, you know, Dad got me hooked on them when I was younger, but I love live records. There's just something about, you can't fake it on stage. So I bought this on CD, and I wore that thing out. I think I replaced the case about 5 times. So I finally did get this on vinyl when it was reissued, I don't know, a few years ago. But whenever I hear Creedence, and especially this record, it brings me back to being 15 years old and getting that CD and hearing, you know, the live version of, you know, the Midnight Special, or, you know, Commotion or Fortunate Son. It's just such a great live record. So there you go, folks. That's just a kind of a fun video showing you a few records that I had not shown before on my channel, and giving you the story behind why they're important to me, and how that ties into my contest. So I hope, if you're considering entering my contest, please do. It's still open for another couple weeks. I really look forward to hearing everybody's stories. That's everything for me today, everybody. Have a great day. Catch you on the flip side.